guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? It's Jay with Guilty of Crime. Having coffee, Flossie in Australia. How you guys doing? How you doing? It's a Saturday, and I'm on the weekend. But I'm on the weekend, interestingly enough, to talk about the Madeleine McCann case. Is the case closed? Really? We're going to talk about that. Now, I started digging into this case, and when I came on here, I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was kind of like, what's going on with this Julia Wendall or whatever her name is? What is this character in this story, and what's going on? Right? We've got a DNA test says she's Polish, and then right after I finished streaming with you guys, that very day, just hours after, something comes in and it says Julia Wendell goes to the McCanns and the cops are called. What is really going on with this case? So I had to come back. There's so many people that are like, this case is closed. It's old. Nothing's happening. What are you doing, Jay? Why are you even covering this? Well, I'm going to tell you today because it got a bit crazy. And I'm going to say hello to everybody. What's up, my friend Anna? Thank you for being here. And my girl Leanne, how you doing? I'm scrambling last minute to get on here. Kryptonite, I saw the guilty of crime boyfriend, Mr. Chief here. What's up, Chief? How you doing? And all the mods, thank you for being here. LJ, Kiwi thinks. Yeah, this case is bigger than now. I knew it was big. It happened in 2007, and beautiful little Madeleine McCann went missing from a window while the parents were supposedly at dinner. Now, I find out as I'm digging through this, and I'm seeing people talk about it, but I find out that those children were medicated to keep them asleep. So I see that as a huge red flag. And then the parents leaving the children with the back door open. And then I start with my favorite guy, Deception Detective. And I'm over there browsing his stuff. And this guy's got 27 videos on this case. 27 videos on this case. And I start digging through it. And I'm just like, bam, bam, bam. There's more stuff. And then the next day, a video comes out with Julia Wendall talking about her visiting the McCanns. So why don't the McCanns want a DNA test? Why would they not? Why would they not want a DNA test? And then, Edith, thank you so much for being a member for 1 month. I appreciate you. You guys do me a favor, hit the like button on your way in. If you head out, hit the like button. If you have the means to gift memberships, get memberships, or any of the below. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Welcome, everybody. Yes, another child lost. This was years ago. Foxy Amazon, good to see you. Mama McCann is a regular Jen Soto. Foxy Amazon, you are the first person that said that to me because I hadn't been covering this case. But there's so much on it, you guys, so much. I dig that background. Thank you. You know what that background is, Augustina? That's me digging into this case. That's how much it needs to be dug into. There's so much on it, you guys. I had no idea. And it's not closed because they're still figuring it out as of last week. just do the test. But tell me, nope, not today. Why wouldn't they do the test? No, Rua, her DNA said not McCann, but Rua, let me pose this to you. It wasn't her DNA that was matched against the McCanns. It was just the ancestry DNA that says that she's not Polish. So it gets even deeper, you guys. So again, I'm always here and happy to agree to disagree with you guys. And I love other conversations. All right. I love other conversations going on in chat about it. But the DNA did not say no against the McCanns. Anna, thank you so much, girl, for the $9.99 super sticker. I appreciate you so very much. All right. So we're going to get into that today, you guys. There's so much of this case to get into. And I'm like, should I cover this on my channel or should I just dig into it myself? So today I'm going to cover it on my channel, and then we'll see, depending on the response from people, on how I'm going to cover it. Maybe the parents know what happened. Well, Krista, I'm going to change your mind probably within the next episode or two that the parents probably do know what happened. So not only do we have Julia Wendall invading their space, but we have the parents that are very sus. Very sus. And Foxy Amazon says the McCanns didn't do the DNA because this Julia chick's incredibly Polish and she did her own DNA. You can tell using genetic genealogy. But why else didn't they do it? I have other suspicions. Now, Leanne says, anyone here heard of Roman Princess Anastasia? That said she was a survivor in 1918. So, yeah, I have heard of that. And a lot of people want it for the infamy, right? So we're going to get into that today because you're right. Kiwi thinks the lies always come out one way or another, but there's so many lies going on here. So first I'm going to drop a quick video, or just like quick 2-minute audio of Julia. He spelled this wrong. Wendall shows up at the McCann's house and there's fighting, like a clear argument. And then we're going to talk about, listen, you guys, some guy claims.
For those of you that are with me for the past couple of years would know that I extensively covered the story of...
Okay, I'm glad you covered this, sir. Listen, people believe that they found her remains. Yes, Foxy Amazon, you say, yeah, they found her remains with the rest of the family, so Anastasia didn't really... Okay, so listen, Foxy. Some guy is saying that he found her remains. So we've got this guy saying that he's found her remains. We've got this girl on the screen saying she's her. We've got the parents saying they don't want anything to do with her, and the case isn't solved. What's going on? Yeah, skip to my Lou. Just wow. And Alyssa Gianna, thanks for making it to a live. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get all the notifications. Well, I don't even know what to say about this case because everybody is talking. I just saw a guy just right before this. I didn't even want to bring it in. This guy that confessed and says he's the one that killed Madeleine McCann. So how in the heck do you have supposed guy that took her life? How do you have somebody that says she is her? How did you find her body? And how do you have parents that don't want to dig further? What's up, M. LaFay? It just doesn't make sense. I don't think it is either, Krista, but that's not my point of today's video. I don't think it's her either, and I still want to talk to her, but that isn't my point. My point is this case closed? Why did someone say they found her body when another person said that they're her, and then the parents don't want to check? Finally, she meets the McCanns. They call the cops. We're going to get into it. This is a whole bunch of stuff, you guys. It's not even about her. This case is so much bigger than her. And please, there's 180 people in chat. If you could hit the like button and get to 100, I will gift some memberships. Okay. All right, Sandy, I like how you're thinking. And welcome. Happy holidays and hello to everybody. Yeah, lies. Rebecca is late to the party. That's all I could think of. Yeah. Yes, Krista. That's why I'm here, because it's not even like it's drama. It's not necessarily drama. It's people inserting themselves in. But what is the truth? What are they hiding with those doctors, right? Pro Scent Sculpts. My goodness. All right, let's get into it. Let's get this party started. I just don't know. This
Of
was
a young
last
lady
week.
named Julia Wendall. She made quite a spectacle after she took to social media, claiming that she is Madeleine. She gained millions of followers and started sharing her case, stating that the mark that Maddie has in her eye is similar to the one that she has in her own eye. She shared other pictures of similarities that she felt she had with Maddie McCann, such as ear shape. Julia wanted to meet Jerry and Kate McCann, and said Kate will know she is Maddie once they meet. Well, it seems that after all this time, Julia is still on a mission to prove that she is in fact Maddie. She actually showed up at the McCann house, and Kate threatened to call police on her. Take a listen.
Call the police. This is fun. Please, only 2 minutes. I understand you. I do, but I don't need this. Sorry. But I'm not lying. Please, I'm not lying. What? My police I'm going to call the police. Call the police. This is fun. I'm not lying. Please, I have DNA. I'm going to the police and announce it out. You're causing a lot of distress. No, don't stop the case. I see her cry. I saw your face. I couldn't remember. How many years is crazy? They lied about me. The media is a traitor. They lied about me like they lied about you. I will show you. Like this is one thing. I will show you. Evidence.
I need help. You are not mad.
How do you know you're the DNA? How do you know you're the DNA?
So we're going to listen to her response after we get into the next part of it. Because like I said, and no, Leanne, I cannot imagine. Like I said, this case is coming from all different angles. You got this guy that just says, I did it. And you got this girl that says, I'm her. And the parents that want to deal with it. The cops are coming. And people that say they found her remains. Well, listen, why is it not that easy? If you found her remains, why not test those remains and make it conclusive? Why, if this girl, I don't think it's her, why not just test this girl and get her out of their lives? Can you imagine? Yes, Leanne, but I want to tell you that those parents are not as innocent as I used to think. So let's keep going. If you can't understand, I put the subtitles on. It's hard to tell what they're saying, but it would be traumatic for everybody. And somebody said they spend millions of dollars trying to solve this case. What a waste of money. Just a waste of money and just, unbelievable.
Please do not afterwards. And please leave the premises. I don't know what your investment is. No, don't listen. We're not having a discussion about this. It's not going to do anything.
No, DNA. I have all markings on my body, almost. I have memory.
No, you have said so much stuff. We don't want any information.
Well, all I'm saying is, but this is DNA on paper. DNA on paper. My DNA from
the police are well aware about Julia and her situation.
But they're not lying.
How are you going to find that out?
Because I have a treatment. I have
prison. Okay. And you go to him and get him to send all the information to the Metropolitan Police.
Police officer present. Because you are so high after the Freemason. I'm not going to. No, you're not to me.
We're almost done with this, guys, but imagine this, and thank you, Bree, so much for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. I can't even imagine. Yes, take the DNA test, but it's not just from her. Now you've got crazy people saying they did it. You've got remains that are supposedly found. You got this guy that that we're going to see next that's saying, hey, yeah, do this. You're her. Go disrupt the parents. But I don't feel so bad for the parents. They should help Julia. She's been abused. I agree. They should take that money and help her. But I think so many people are using Madeleine McCann, this poor little girl, for their own clout. And it's absolutely disgusting. And I'd love to get those people exposed that are doing it for those reasons. And I'm here to figure it out with you guys, because when I'm doing it myself, I just can't figure it out because there's so many directions it's coming from. And this is an old case, but the information that's coming out is still coming. Well, Geraldine, why even talk to her? Because we want to hear I'd love to get an interview with her and hear what she has to say. I think my input in this case might be able to help do a few things. So yeah, I absolutely would love to have my chance. What's up, Lady for Justice? How you doing? Oh, Anna got a membership. Yeah. All right. All right, let's get to the next part. I after this, I had a little bit different agenda, but it doesn't matter. You guys don't know the difference because I'm talking about case closed and all the crazy people. We still have a little girl, Madeleine McCann, that's at the center of all this. That, in my opinion, hasn't been found unless I see the DNA there.
We're not having a discussion. Please leave what we will.
I am lovely. Ruby, I said to me, rule me out. Rule me out. Please take it.
222, y'all. All right. All right. So, I love you guys, and I love when people hop in right in the middle and didn't hear the whole thing. So, Shauna, thank you so much for that. We're on my last episode. We talked all about that. Today, we're not talking about that. We're talking about little Madeleine McCann. All right. Hold on. Hold on. It just started playing in here. All right. So, yeah, I don't dispute that at all. But what I'm talking about is, what about this Sudden Impulse book by Bernd Stoller that claims he found Madeleine McCann's body? What about that? What about everything else that we have in here? That's what I'm talking about. So do stick around and listen to the whole context and then tell me what you think then, because I've already in my mind deciphered that, hey, she's turned up Polish, she's not her. But why is she still, right afterwards, just last week, going to try to talk to the parents? And I don't care if she's her or not. That's besides the point right now. I concur. Thank you for telling me the facts. I appreciate you and your insight. Well, thank you. All right. It's been 120 years from now, people will claim to be Summer Wells, right? I mean, people still think that Summer Wells is alive. Yeah, Marilyn, we got so many things. The book. Jazz W said, miss the first 14 minutes, sitting in silence, waiting to reconnect. Yeah, because we're not talking about, if you guys read the title, my title says Madeleine McCann. Is the case closed? Did we find her body? And who we talked about the last time, Julia meets the McCanns. They call the cops. I'm not even disputing whether it's her anymore. We're way past that, in my opinion. I've given you my opinion. I think she has people in the background encouraging her. She does I think it's because of the money. But what about everyone else? I also have a video that talks about what the McCanns did and did they really tell the truth? All right. So before we get into that, we're going to talk about this guy. Is he crazy? This guy says that he found Madeleine's body. All right. So what do you say to that?
Why cover it up?
What do you say to that?
Foreign Detective Bert Stellander's summary here
You're welcome.
contains the answers to both questions. Foreign Detective Bert Stellander says he's cracked the case of Madeleine McCann, but has he actually uncovered the truth in her parents' lies? Let's watch his viral interview with James English to find out.
So there were night crashes there until 11. So when they go and dine 8 o'clock or something, they could have just taken their 8:30 or whatever to the night crash and picking them up 11, and they can do the full dining, no risk, no anything. Or they could just don't be cheap and just pay some of these girls that were taking care of their daughters. Say, hey, can't you babysit 3 hours?
All right. So now we're getting back to the basics of the case. We're going to start there and then we'll move forward. So he's talking about the basic necessity for the children. Why not get a sitter and put them to sleep? And I love you, Becky B, for saying Kate and Jerry McCann lied through their teeth at every opportunity. But this guy says he's cracked the case and he found Madeleine's body. What do you think about that? And hello, better late than never. All right. So this is recent, you guys. Let's keep going.
Hours when we were out drinking.
Why doesn't it?
No, I didn't know. It sounds insane because I don't know. I think
Could they just be naive to it all as well? And
but they're all doctors, but they all can't be like the McCanns.
yeah.
Like sedation, drugs. I mean, I know, like I told you, I know how my father looked at drugs. He abused drugs, like uppers and downers. And, he had a super career. He was like chief medical of Northern Norway before he was 40. But he was using drugs. Like
it's not clickbait.
Enhancement drugs. And
JR, girl, 22. What's clickbait, my girl? What's clickbait? There's no DNA. There's no clickbait. Is this case closed? Did this guy find her body? And why did the McCanns call the cops on Julia? Do they have something to hide? I don't know what clickbait we're talking about here, but I gotta love these people that come in. All right. Love you guys.
And my uncle in Austria, he worked for Pfizer, like, selling these things and anything. And the way they look at drugs is unbelievable. Yeah, and it could be that way. They were trusting in what they had, the arsenal.
I agree with Bernd that many doctors are more reckless with medications than the general population. It might be due to desensitization, hubris, or survivor bias. After all, they don't see the fatal side effects because those patients don't come back for follow ups. Kate and Jerry McCann likely understood the risks of sedating their children to get them to sleep.
All right. So did you guys even know about that? Did you know the parents were sedating the children and then they go to dinner without anybody watching them and come back and say, "Oh no, she's gone and we left that back door open." Parents are hiding secrets. I agree with you. And I have so many cases to get into. Yeah, never clickbait. Never. I'm really talking about this. This guy is saying here that he found Madeleine's body. He said he found Madeleine's body. All right. So that's what I'm saying is this is what he's talking about here. That the parents shouldn't have done that. That's just the basic logic, right? You don't drug your kids and then go to dinner. But if you do and you accidentally overdose them, "Oh no, I left the doors open." And then we go from there, right? That still doesn't take away from the fact that this guy is saying he has her remains.
But as professionals, they also understood just how slim the odds were of encountering them. That said,
Exactly.
Bernd and I don't see eye to eye on everything. One of our biggest disagreements is coming up next, and it involves statement analysis.
Do you think we'll ever get answers with the Madeleine McCann case?
Well, this is the thing. You say,
Possible.
I'm not out to take them or watch them fall. But of course, that's a consequence of bringing the remains home and giving her a piece and a grave at home. And this is what Kate wants too. She leaked so many times that she wanted to end this. And I suspect that she's been under threat. And I'm talking physical threat, not her, but the twins have been at risk. And that's why she hasn't left this realm before. Because this is with the dream, the turning point dream. This is the media called it the turning point dream. When she called Paiva, the liaison, when Jerry was in the US, she wanted them to actually find it without getting caught. It's a little naive. I mean, if you put this in a novel, nobody would publish it, but that's how it is. If you're not a criminal and you come up with stories, they're bad, even though you're very intelligent. So she had this idea that she could say that she's hidden on rocks on a hillside overlooking in Praia da Luz. That's only one hillside that could be, basically. She wanted them to find it, but that would point to her, right? Or she could pretend she was had a vision or something, right? And
all right, so we're talking about how lies reveal the truths. And this was just 3 months ago, you guys, that this video came out. This is the video of the cops being called was last week. It came out. And this one was them saying they found her body. If that's the case, then this would be over. We wouldn't be talking about where is Madeleine McCann. We'd be talking about who did it, what happened, which we're asking all of them, right? We're asking all of them. Let's go.
But I suspect that there might be something in that grave that could point to them in otherwise. There's
In
another
the
cuddle
grave,
toy
guys.
missing, and there's a pink blanket. She might be rolled in and things like that.
I was crying out that I could see Madeleine lying, cold and mottled on a big gray stone slab. That's a quote from Kate McCann's book, Madeleine, where she's describing some sort of vision that she had. And I understand how Bernd could interpret that as leakage or an inadvertent admission that Kate buried Madeleine or hid her in a cemetery mausoleum. But here's the problem with Bern's statement analysis. That's not Kate's only vision. For example, here's another quote from the book which seems to leak that Madeleine was buried at sea. This immediately conjured visions of Madeleine being disposed of somewhere on the overhanging cliff. And here's one that hints at a botched kidnapping. The fear of Madeleine being dumped somewhere and dying of hypothermia started to hijack my thoughts. And of course, there's this infamous one that implies trafficking. I told him about the awful pictures that scrolled through my head of her body and private parts torn apart.
Okay, so right now we're listening to Deception Detective pick apart this guy that says they found Madeleine. Now, the guy that says he found Madeleine is also talking about Kate, Maddie's mom, saying that she knows and she had a dream about in her book about where Maddie was. So, right now, Deception Detective is ripping this apart and telling how lies will reveal the truth. Did they really find her body, and should we keep going? And then we're going to go back to Julia and see why we think the parents would call the cops. What are they hiding? There's so many angles on this case, you guys, so many angles. And that's what I'm trying to get to right now with each episode without having to make 100 episodes. Yes, in the book. And I could talk about Kate McCann and her husband. I can talk about those two for hours. Exactly, Jared, girl. I'm right there with you.
These contradictory visions can't all be leakage. So, what are they? I think the answer to that lies in what they all have in common. Whether Madeleine is being buried, disposed of, dumped, or ravaged, it's always at the hands of a stranger. In other words, these visions seem more like the clumsy narrative pushing the McCanns have been doing since day one to convince people that Madeleine was kidnapped, rather than the groundbreaking leakage insights that Burnt seems to think that they are. That's not to say we haven't found leakage in the McCann statements. We have. This just doesn't seem like an example of it. In fact, I developed my own theory about what happened to Madeleine from Kate and Jerry's leakage.
Absolutely.
If you're not aware, this is my 26th video analyzing this case, and my 6th video analyzing this specific interview between James English and Bert Stellander.
Things like that. So
sad, isn't it?
But I don't think she cared about that. This has become too big for her nerves.
Do you think someone could possibly break, even 17, 20 years later, where they come clean with it all?
I was maybe a little naive that I thought that she could break from my profiling of her in that book. I think they're always proactive. You know, that's their mantra, proactive. It's a defense mechanism. Any criminal would be proactive.
I think what I'm going to do next with you guys, since I have 274 people in here and there's so many different views. Now, don't forget, I'm working with and collaborating with Deception Detective. I love his series, but what I'm doing with this series is I'm breaking it down so that I can tell you guys in a fashion that you don't have to go out and dig all this stuff up for yourselves, and in the most what makes sense to me way. All right. So yeah, the media played them sympathetic. That's why I want to talk to you, I think, next about what we think happened, so I can get out there to you guys what I think happened. And I haven't got that. My first video was of Madeleine McCann. Julia Wandlet saying she's Madeleine McCann. That's how I introduced the first part of this episode. But I think the next thing I need to do is tell you how I think, along with Deception Detective, following the 26 other episodes of what we really think happened, and then we can get to the bottom of it. Okay. Yes, this case is worldwide. Absolutely. And this is a huge case, but I love big cases. I love small cases, but I love big ones as well.
You want to know what the police does. You have the manuals on the bedside table. They had literally. And I was thinking that, but here's the thing. As long as they're silent and the media is silent, nobody has to crack and just watch my book go away. But it will creep into Britain, hopefully, through you. Thank you, buddy. Man, you're one step ahead of anything. But I was very shocked and, very honored and shocked, actually. So that's what I meant when I didn't sleep that night. That was the adrenaline. It wasn't something, Anyways, so yeah, cracking. Oh, yeah, I was naive. I thought maybe Kate could crack from that to avoid me setting the nuggets up, because they're in a very difficult position showing up and their behavior on the videos, because it implicates them in a conspiracy or in a, corrupt, and the course of justice. Because if you're in the know, you're already in a criminal decision.
Give me your short format of it all from the moment Madeleine was left in the room. What do you think's happened then until now?
This is the third time he's
Yeah,
asking me this.
short version,
You know,
yeah.
nobody asked me a short one. Yeah,
All
I
right,
know it's very
listen
hard.
up, you guys.
No, because
Listen
we've
up.
covered a lot.
Yeah,
I
I
just want
know.
a sort of rundown of what you think actually happened on the night to what happened the previous couple of days to then now.
Yeah, well,
All right, so they're going to ask this guy for the third time, and listen up. They're asking him what he thinks happened. And when we're done here analyzing this, we're going to go over there, and I'm going to tell you before I get any further into the series what I think happened and who I think is involved. And then we'll also get into Julia and what the heck does Julia want in this case, and what is she doing? Is she crazy? All right, Ashley, thank you so much. Love you, girl, for the 1999 super sticker. And I want this case to be solved before I die, too. I'm so mad when I watch these documentaries and nothing's been resolved. And you got all these crazy people here that are claiming this and that with zero proof. It really bothers me, you guys. It really does. So I'm here to walk you guys through it and bring things out as they come. So pieces are coming out. Like I said, just a week ago, the cops were called because Julia went to their house. All right. So let's keep going. Yeah, the whole thing's sad either way, but we want justice for Madeleine McCann, which may mean lock those parents up and whoever else is involved. All right. Yeah, I got little dogs in the background barking. Okay, let's go.
well, I spoke up to the
Oh, come on. My internet's garbage.
the hiding of the body, and
So you think in the room, Madeleine's she's been drugged, she's fell off the sofa, bumped her head.
she's sedated for sure. And even though it's not relevant to the falling, it's probably part of the picture because of normally you shouldn't die from that kind of fall. But if she's sedated, she may have lost consciousness before, and she has a limp fall, harder fall on the tile, and you can have and and they hid the body.
There are so many mysteries surrounding the Madeleine McCann case, like how Kate and Jerry could have hidden her body, or why the British government leapt to their defense. I've covered both in other videos. But the biggest questions are, if Madeleine died, how? And if it was an accident, why cover it up? Foreign Detective Bert Stellander's summary here contains the answers to both questions, but he doesn't quite
All
connect
we
the dots.
want.
So let's do it for him. Here's a clip from one of my earlier videos in this series. If Madeleine did die by falling behind the couch, the parents, being doctors, could still have a reason for covering up the body rather than calling an ambulance. They might be worried that an autopsy would reveal that they were giving their daughter off-label sedatives, opening them up to manslaughter charges at the very least. And even if they weren't worried about sedatives being found, they might be worried about neglect charges, or if they're narcissistic enough, having the reputation of being parents who were out drinking with their buddies while their kid died of an accident alone in the hotel room. And it's not like any of this doesn't have precedent. Parents who leave their kids alone in a hot car get charged when those kids die. And if the kid doesn't actually die, they still get charged with neglect.
That's it.
Now, listen up here. Becky B, I agree. And I love that somebody just came up here and said, hey, in what do they say? In Portugal, they're not they're not even suspects. And Anna Piers is saying, this is so ridiculous. Anna, I'd love for you to tell me what you know about this case and how the parents, how you know that the parents are innocent. What happened to her? Also, I want to know, did they find her body? That's what I want to know. There's excellent things being pointed at the case, but there's also 26 other videos that are saying the opposite of this being ridiculous. All right, so we'll go back and take a look at that after. But I want to know, I don't want to hear from anybody, this is ridiculous, it's not true. I want to hear what the truth is. Tell me what the truth is, because I'm here trying to figure this out. Back it up with evidence, please.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, like I say, I think we've touched on everything basically. If we missed anything out,
Well, the Smith sighting, I'm there's so many good people involved in these things. And let me mention a few while I remember.
Yeah.
You have profiler Pat Brown. She's been so generous and sweet. She started off bashing me with my crazy hidden face masked man thing. It was actually created to get attention from potential publishers because I needed to screen them. I didn't want to out myself. It wasn't for publicity or something. But anyways, at least I got her attention. So in a way,
That's
but
what
and then
everybody
she made an
says.
apology video, so she's cool. Then you have Isabel McFadden in California. She's a Portuguese American. She knows everybody in this case. I mean, you talk Operation Grange, PJ, everything. She's been involved from the beginning. She's
That's what I'm
reading the book
saying.
now. So she's been very kind, supportive, and generous. And then you have Jill Havern, a very substantial forum with the king of the forum is Peter McLeod, the former.
So that's what we're trying to reveal the lies and get the truth out of it, right? That's what I said. Why do people keep telling me this Louisiana lint liquor, which is funny name, by the way? Why do they keep telling me this? I respect Pat Brown too, but why when I talk about this case, I got people telling me, you're wrong, but don't tell me why. And then this case is solved. They found her body. What am I missing? Please fill me in because I'm trying to fill in. If you can give me the answers without me having to dig through this, I come on, guys, bring it.
Nottingham Police Superintendent from 1972 to 2000, who is that? I mean, the biggest achievement for me and what I want. I mean, we all have some ego in us, mine has been brushed off through a tough life, and it doesn't matter anymore. But when he was a April 29 guy, a Monday guy, that he thought it happened then. And he was with the other guys on the 28th, 29th, after the last, the photo on the Sunday. They thought that she died after that. That's why there are no photos after that. So it kind of makes sense. And there was no official viewing of her after that Sunday. There was like the cleaner's daughter had seen them walk upstairs for.
I did. And I want to tell you guys, I did. Flossie, just at the beginning of this, I said, what is going on with this case? Christian Bruckner is a suspect because he's the one that admitted that he took her life, that he took Maddie's life. So you got Christian saying he took her life. You got this guy saying we found her body. You got the parents that are making themselves over the years look very suspicious. So which one is it? Which one is it? And then on top of that, throw Julia into the mix. Is it the Mandela effect? That's all I have to say. All right. And I agree with that. And I heard all about that. But we need to find out what the truth is. And we need to get Julia out of their lives if she's not the person and I don't think she is, but we need to get her help. All right. These documents were sent. Spain is aware. My comment above. All right, let's keep going. Where are those documents? I want them.
For breakfast, that is the last signing and that on that Sunday. So it makes sense in a way. But from having him reading my book 3 times, scrutinizing sleepless nights and his reviews is like an incredible credential for me and this book. That Peter McLeod, I mean, he's now on my team, on the timeline. And Amaral is reading the book. I hope he accepts the timeline and it gives him peace, because that was the puzzle. At first, he was on the May 3, same as Pat Brown, the profiler. But he now thought about, they're talking about the missing 6 hours that afternoon on the May 3rd. But he is now more open to it happening earlier. But he wouldn't agree with Peter going all the way to the Monday, the 29th. So I'm on the Wednesday, and there's so many things that this makes sense, is that they didn't have time enough to do it well enough, so they did mistakes. And then you had the crying on the May 1st. So actually you have to be between there.
Where do you go forward for the future with it all?
Bernd mentioned that Pat Brown and others were skeptical of him when he first appeared on TV because he was anonymous. However, I actually liked it for one simple reason. Without being able to rely on his credentials, all the theories in his book would have to speak for themselves. So when he revealed his name shortly thereafter and is now giving responses like this, where he's name dropping all these esteemed insiders who he's convinced to come onto his team, it's actually a letdown. And ironically, it's also a concern. In a way, all the name dropping that Bernd is doing reminds me of a convincing statement, which can often be a sign of a liar, or at the very least, a sign that someone is insecure about the believability of their story. Here's the relevant card from the Deception Book, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation. Liars often use perception qualifiers, which may reflect their insecurity about being believed. Words like honestly, frankly, and truthfully in a statement can suggest deception. In other words, I don't care who Bernd is convinced of his theory if he hasn't provided enough proof to convince me. And so
exactly. So this guy is name dropping. When I'm listening to him, also, you guys, I also watch these people's interviews and I come back. That's how I react to these things. I listen to what they say and I say, wait, what, they said that because of what? Or that doesn't make sense. As I'm listening to that guy talk the entire time, it's not making sense to me either. And the fact that he says nothing, 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 and then he name drops, and then nothing, 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 and then name drops, That's all we're hearing. Yeah, there's no proof to anything. There's no proof to anything. So let's get in this, and then after that, we're going to get into what did happen, in my opinion, so that we can move forward in this case.
Far, he hasn't.
Keep going, because it's not like a treasure hunt, but it's trying to get answers to put a little girl,
Yeah.
innocent girl to rest. But because it is, so many people are
Does
so
it
intrigued
what?
by it, so it's understandable. But where do you go forward for the future? Do you keep going till you get answers, or does it eventually take its toll when you just case closed?
I want people to make up their own opinion, and I think this book could be a game changer in terms of the way this jigsaw puzzle and all the pieces is put so finely together, not by design, by what they are. You know, like with jigsaw puzzle, you know, you can't force them in place. They have to fit perfectly in its place, and I think that's what I've achieved with this. So the more people that read the book, of course, now I sound like I'm selling the book, and of course
Yeah,
I am.
yeah,
Blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
You do.
But,
He
you know, that's not
does.
the point. For me, it's about the truth, and I hate to see all these lies. You know, we have Brenda Leyland. She was outed. She was a tweet, you know, kind of aggressive, but she didn't break any laws. She was doorstepped by Sky News, and she went and committed suicide.
All right, so that he literally just called out what I was thinking from the beginning of hearing him talk. He keeps talking about that book, and he keeps talking about Kate, and then he name drops to make it sound like it's substantial, or like it's been looked at and it's the truth, which it hasn't, nor have I seen any evidence. Why are they allowed to leave Portugal when the case is, because they're not looking at them, Tough Gemini, they're not looking at them. What we think is much different what this guy thinks, and it's much different than what Anna in chat thinks, and it's much different than what Julia thinks. If Julia Wendall was really their child, there's nothing to be investigating, right? That means that Madeleine McCann is alive and well, so why are we even talking about this then? All right, let's keep going.
Brenda Leyland.
Who was that?
Brenda Leyland, she was a middle-aged lady alone, some mental nervous issues, and she was doorstepped by Sky News, and she was outed like a McCann troll on national TV. She went to a hotel and killed herself, overdosed with helium. I don't know how you do that, but
Helium?
yeah.
What, the
Yeah, I
blow
don't.
up a balloon?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But the point is, she died. But this is actually from Jerry McCann himself. He was talking about a campaign of making an example, and they were creating a dossier. And I think his sister Philomena was helping him with this. And this dossier, she was in the initial files, but she wasn't in the final dossier after the filtration of the police about breaking the law or not. She was not. She didn't make it to the bad guys, but she was still outed, and she was the one singled out, which is very bad. So she killed herself, and I have her. She's in the memorial in the first credit the book.
So for people watching, what would you tell them to then? Like you say, you've got to stay open-minded. Jerry and Kate have never been
tell us
convicted,
something.
no matter what anybody
Tell
says,
us
no matter what
something.
evidence is out there.
No, this
And
is just a
and
theory.
they could have an innocent young daughter being abducted and killed.
Well, that's I can't.
Yeah, of course, I
yeah,
understand
know.
it, but
Yeah.
you've still got to stay
Mhm.
open-minded that they could be innocent, because even though evidence and everybody's theories suggest otherwise, you've still got to be, because what if you're wrong? What if I'm wrong? What if other people are wrong? And can you imagine that what they've been through for 17 years, and people have then speculated that they're involved and it was wrong? So I understand people still got to question everything and then make up your own mind.
Yeah, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a courtroom. In the real world, we rarely have the luxury of reserving judgment until there's enough proof to know beyond a reasonable doubt that someone is a threat, a hoaxer, or a grifter. In other words, I don't mind Bert pursuing the McCanns as aggressively as he has if he genuinely believes they're guilty, and he says he does. That's the same approach I take in all the cases I've analyzed on the channel and beyond. People get the benefit of the doubt until.
All right. So if you came in here late, or you missed what I said, or you missed my last episode, I don't think that Julia is their child, but I want to know why what is her purpose in doing this. And right after I did that episode, she went and met the McCanns, and they called the cops. Now we're talking about finding the truth. And when I talk about this case, I got people telling me, what? They already found her body. Case closed. Why are you even covering this? All right, so I give up then. I'm not going to cover this case because Julia's alive, because they found her body, and because this guy says so. What? All right, yeah, it was tested against the parents. It was tested, and it came back to be Polish. All right, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't.
Will they act deceptively or evasively, like refusing to answer key questions about their daughter's disappearance, as the McCanns have done, or wiping all the messages off their phone, the way Nicole Kessinger did in the infamous Chris Watts case. As long as the goal is to arrive at the truth rather than to be proven correct, I believe that any errors of analysis should be forgiven. That said, there
What
are some
does she
things
want?
Bert has done from the beginning of his journey that I believe set him up for failure in that respect. Listen closely to what he says going forward, and I'll address them soon.
But what do you think people take away most from this podcast today?
Oh, I don't know. It's the first time I'm, that open about these things, and I've been sick a week, as you can hear from my voice. I can't believe I haven't coughed
He's an attorney.
anymore. Sinus infection and all that stuff, but I'm getting better. And I don't know. I think hopefully they're curious about what has he put together. Well, the difference between me and all the others having written a McCann book, because there've been several. Number one is that they have never been ignored like mine. They've been sued and everything. Mine is just completely kept in the dark. Even the mainstream media in Portugal. I rented 500 square meter for the press conference, and the main CMTV, CM Jornal in Portugal, one of the directors said they would be there, confirmed twice, and they didn't show, not a word. So there's something going on, and there's something with this book that hits a sweet spot. And I am the first and the only one to pinpoint within 1 hour with argument. I mean, like you can see what I did to pinpoint all these angles, and there's no angles pointing elsewhere. That is why I did this book. If there was doubt for me, I would just keep going silently, investigating this until I probably or possibly or maybe found the.
I can't. This guy is just talking in circles, and I feel like he's been doing this for a long time. And still, I want to know where the body is. Why are people saying they found the body? Why wouldn't the parents find the body and then bury her and let people know? Case is closed. I mean, it's not closed, but they'd say, hey, Bruckner's a suspect. He took her life, but her body's found. We've laid her to rest. Why hasn't any of this happened? And that's because what Veronica says is another Maddie failed. That's why CM's a trashy tabloid. Yeah, I'm not believing this guy, Anna. I'm actually telling you right here how lies reveal the truth. We're listening to lies and we're trying to reveal the truth right now. So yeah, I don't know what he's saying.
Remains myself. Then you can tell the story, right? But this book is because of the timeline. She died the night before. That is what I hope people are curious about, to find out, how did he put this together? How can he be so confident about May 2nd between 11 p.m. and midnight on May 2nd? And why does everything else fit that image? The writing of the handwritten timelines, why would they lie in between them about when that was written? I proved that.
That's what I want to know.
But it makes sense when you see them for what they are. They're a rehearsal sheet about what to say the next day during and what to do, and who are going to check. Matt is going to check inside between Jerry and Kate. And and then he changed his mind, and then they convinced him after all. So I hope people are curious to figure out, what did this amateur military police ex do, and why did he do it? Why did he spend 7 years of that? Was it to make money? Of course not. Nobody writes a brick like that to make money. I mean, shipment cost, he wouldn't even,
Right, well, where's her body?
There's something convincing about this guy, I hope. And the curiosity about finding, how can he be so certain? What was it that the others missed that he saw? One example is, for example, Martin Grime at the dogs. I haven't mentioned that.
Let's go a little
Like a
bit forward.
burial at sea or a cremation, because there wouldn't be a payoff. He's also forced himself to ignore the timeline that Detective Amaral, Pat Brown, and I all agree on, because it wouldn't be novel. He would just be another commentator agreeing with the most likely scenario. In other words, it's the sunk cost fallacy. He spent so much time and effort trying to find a burial spot and writing a book about it that his brain subconsciously needs to find it. Otherwise, all that work was wasted. His final blind spot relates to what he's saying now about MI6 tampering with the evidence. This is a blind spot I've noticed with many authors, YouTubers, and sleuths who focus exclusively on one case. Listen closely and see if you can figure out what it is.
This is from Amaral, and made him switch, because her checker pattern pants and her top was on the list of positives, Kate's, but it was actually her pants and a t-shirt that was Maddie or Sean's, and the O'Neill shirt is the strongest positive marking on Jerry's t-shirt in there. And then you can ask yourself, they're showing on the press conference this pajamas. We didn't talk about
the Deception Detective a little more, because that's all I hear from him is womp womp. I don't know how he's gotten this far.
thesuddenimpulse.com.
Yeah, so you can send me the link for this and I'll put it in the comments section.
There's
like I say, people, take what you will out of this podcast today. The information that you've got, search everything and listen, make your own assumption, because there's people pro the McCanns and there's people question that there's something not right. Again, we don't have all the answers. All we can do is have a quick discussion. Like I say, I'm not here to shoot those people down. I have said some things, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to apologise, because it is a little girl out there, but people just want the truth, and it is a very high profile case where
Well, this is why I'm using DD's him navigating now. Jack Stormo. Some people don't know that deception detective is an attorney trained in statement analysis. So he's currently an attorney right now, and so the episodes that he's done on this case, I take those episodes because he is not a true crime person. So he does this to reveal lies, show you how to tell the truth from the lies and what it means. Yeah, broken record, in my opinion. So that's what DD does, but he doesn't sit there and know the true crime case. He's not doing true crime. Yeah, well, that too, Jax. All right, so let's keep going because I want you guys to know right from the get-go what we think really happened. Now, this is what really happened to Maddie, but I'm not going to say what really happened, but I'm going to say what I think really happened. I want to hear DD.
I think Matt was investigated for a wrongful death in his occupation, and that
Why is he
Jerry
talking
was
about other stuff?
one of his.
Yeah, let's listen to DD. Come on, DD, step in.
About the Delphi murders. However, they were very unsatisfied with the result because I gave them my honest opinion. I think the guy is guilty. No conspiracy theory or cults necessary. The same happened with Keely Rodney. I think she's a kid who probably drank too much at a party and drove off a cliff. No foul play necessary. Same with Nicola Bully. Now, do I think Burnt is doing this on purpose and seeing things that aren't there just to continue having stuff to talk about on podcasts or to have content for his book? No. Like all the blind spots I mentioned in this episode and previous entries into the series, I think it's
really
subconscious.
And supports in that case, someone told me.
Yes,
So,
please.
So yeah, so that could be something on that. And then Dave, of course, was a complicit if you're talking about SA from the Gaspar statements. And then you have Russell, best friend with Jerry.
Hey, bestie.
So what do you have? You have a soup of hiding a bad lie.
But if you do that, I tell you one, that's some staunch friends to then live that lie for so long without anyone breaking.
Yeah, well, again, it's not about throwing your friends under the bus. We have the government cover up. That's the one that has to be protected.
Yeah, like
It becomes bigger.
it's just it could be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
It could just be like you said, the other things are just simple where the answers are right in front of your face. But hopefully there is answers. Hopefully the little girl can get laid to rest if she's dead. Some people do think she's alive as well. But how are you feeling today?
Very good. I'm recovering and I'm a little shocked, a little nervous still. And I probably won't watch this again.
Listen,
I will.
Would you like to finish up on anything else, Bernie?
No, actually, I have something that would be interesting that I would actually.
I better be
like, if
interesting
you don't
because
mind,
so
of
far
course
what
not.
he's saying,
If you don't mind,
yeah,
I'd like
part
to
of
read something.
what are you talking about? I haven't heard anything that I could use.
This is, of course, only a theory. I have laid out in the book all the evidence on which I have based it. It is for the readers to decide whether they follow my theory or the claim that Madeleine was abducted from her bed, for which, as we know, not a single shred of evidence has ever been presented or discovered by the police forces of 3 nations, nor by numerous fraudulent private detectives and dubious investigative journalists. Let me repeat that. There is not and has never been a shred of evidence of abduction. Here I present 850 pages of evidence of something else.
If Kate and Jerry are watching this podcast, what did you say to them?
Well, that's awkward, right?
Yeah.
But
Why is it awkward? Speak out.
People don't like that I have sympathy for Kate, but I have a very good ability in getting into other people's shoes and psychological situation at a time very far back in time. And I think that Kate has been under more pressure than we can imagine. And I think she will get the book deal of a lifetime when this is over and they've lost everything. She will stand as a winner.
All right, so that's all he said the entire time. I haven't heard one bit of evidence that I find has been the truth in anything, and I don't know how anyone can say, please don't come to me about this case and say they found her body, you guys, unless you're able to show me where they found the body and show me a burial, show me something with real evidence, because that's the last time I'm going to listen to that. Basti77, thank you. Welcome. You guys hit the like button. Let's talk about now. What the heck is he talking about? Now we're going to figure out what we're talking about here because we are going to get into this. What really happened to Maddie and what we think. Again, with Deception Detective, I don't know how long you guys are going to be here, but I still have another bit of information to share with you guys about Julia going to the McCann's house and them saying, get out of here, I'm calling the cops. We listened to an audio earlier, but she's going to talk about it. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't think that Julia Wendall is Madeleine McCann. I don't think so. I know they took a DNA test. So let's start with that. They took a DNA test. She's Polish. Now I want the parents to take a DNA test and squash that theory that she even has a possibility of it. I want them to just squash it, but they're not right now. And that's what I'm going to show you after we talk about what really happened to her. Okay. Again, we're here on a Saturday. You guys could be somewhere else, but you're here. So let's go. Let's go with that. We're going to listen to the parents and we're going to tell you what we think.
I'm an attorney trained in statement analysis, and this channel is all about exposing liars and manipulators. Before we proceed, please take a moment to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. In this episode, we're going to analyze the second part of an interview Madeleine's parents did with a Swedish talk show to see if we can figure out through their language what actually happened.
Don't use that word, and nobody thinks.
Which one of these media speculations was most shocking, do you think? Was most hurtful?
I mean, there were loads. I mean, I guess the worst thing is if they say that she's dead and there's no evidence, because if she's dead, there's no search.
I think the other thing, just to go back to that, Frederick, is that we had an interview with the police, which Kate details in her book, an unofficial interview, and basically to the senior officers were saying.
So if you've seen the first part of this video, right, we've analyzed the first half of this interview. And Madeleine's parents are not very good liars. So they leak lots of information in the words that they use. And leakage is common with liars because you always speak based on everything you know. So if you talk enough, eventually you let the truth slip out, right? Knowing the truth and trying to keep it out of your language while trying to fabricate something else is very difficult.
All right, is something wrong with the sound, you guys? I turned up Deception Detective because it was low, but I have Meatball saying "rest in peace, my ears." So if my audio isn't coinciding with his, let me know rather than that your ears are dying. All right, just tell me and I'll fix it.
And one of the reasons liars trip up so much. And part of the leakage with Madeleine's parents is in responses to some of these interview questions, they reveal what they're most sensitive about. So let's listen to that very first question again. The host asked them which rumors or something affected you the most. And whatever response they give means that's the one that they're most sensitive about, probably because that's the one that's...
Now, if you guys were here yesterday, we did this with rest in peace, my ears. You guys are funny. If you guys were here yesterday for the Sebastian Rogers, this is what we did with Sebastian Rogers, okay? So when they ask him a question or they talk about the case and what happened to Madeleine McCann, and they respond with what they're about to respond with, it's what they're most into. Okay. All right. Just screech for a second. Sorry, guys.
It's true. Right? So if I call you purple, that doesn't hurt your feelings because you're not purple.
Just like
let's
Chris.
say you are low IQ and I call you low IQ, that you will be sensitive about because it's true, right?
Which one of these media speculations was most shocking, do you think? Was most hurtful?
I mean, there were loads.
So which speculation was the hardest for you? Their answer here is going to be revealing because there were lots of speculations, right? There are speculations that they were negligent. There are speculations that the daughter was kidnapped. There are speculations that they actually sexually abused Madeleine. So listen to the response here. It's revealing, right? Out of all these options, which one they picked to say hurt them the most?
Loads. I mean, I guess the worst thing is if they say that she's dead and there's no evidence, because if she's dead, there's no search.
I think the other thing.
Right. So they said the one that hurt them the most is saying that Madeleine is dead, probably because that's the one that's true. And they know it's true because I think that they killed her. Personally, I think they did it by accident. If you saw the first part of my analysis.
Now, listen up. You guys know Deception Detective through my channel. And if you're a follower of Deception Detective, he's a lawyer trained in statement analysis. He never is that bold. I've never heard him say something that bold what he just said. All right, let's keep going. I got to step away for 1 second, but listen up.
Thing, just to go back to that, Frederick, is that we had an interview with the police, which Kate details in her book, an unofficial interview, and basically to the senior officers were saying to us, tell us what happened, we know what happened, and I was in tears saying, do you have evidence that Madeleine is dead? Because if you do, as our parent, we need to know. And they were saying, it's coming, and that, you know, the pressure that was put on us to confess to a crime of hiding your own daughter's body, and to say that you were going to pursue us for murder. And it's not unique to Portugal. This happens with police the world over. It's happened to many different people. It's happened to other parents in similar situations to us.
How is
So I think that the Portuguese police were accusing them of murdering Madeleine because, just like me, right, and just like lots of my viewers, they picked up on the red flags and what the parents did say and what they didn't say. Even in this interview, they expressed no curiosity about what Madeleine is going through right now, or any curiosity about whether or not the kidnapper is watching this and might demand a ransom, right? There's a possibility to get her back. Or even expressing any fear about what she might be experiencing right now if she's still alive. And I think that's because they know she's dead, right? So she's at peace. There is no point in worrying about.
Okay, now I love this because this is what we're going to start it off with. And if you guys want to go further with this case, I certainly can. I can start digging into things that are very recent. And I really do want to get an interview with Julia. Maybe we'll be able to get a psychological perspective about her. Now, let's make this clear. I do not think that Julia Wendall is Madeleine McCann, but I'd love to find out what her deal is. All right. Not just on speculation, but with the help of people.
Madeleine anymore, which is why they're not worried. What they're worried about now is themselves. So they go to great lengths to defend themselves from accusations.
How is your daily life? It's been 5 years. How is your daily life affected by this now? Or do you have a daily life?
Yeah, I think we've reached a new normality, I guess. You know, our life will never be what it was. You know, it's never going to be truly normal again because of what.
Also, notice how she's saying our life will never be what it was, which is kind of like when O.J. Simpson said, right, I'll keep searching for the killer for the rest of my life, implying that he understood the killer would never be found, right? He was basically revealing that he was the killer. He knew the killer would never be found because he was, in fact, the killer. And I've done a video on OJ, which I think is one of my best and craziest videos. So make sure to subscribe so that YouTube.
Wow, I almost want to cover that one. Now listen up. Think about this. I'm going to give you guys a portal on my channel right now. We're going to get a portal. First, we're going to get that portal back to this year when it happened in 2007. All right. So I'm assuming these interviews are very close to when this happened, right? It was in the height, in the peak of when she was missing and the parents were going through this. I'm going to put you in a portal back to 2007. Imagine that we're in 2007 right now, and you see this lady equivalent to a Jen Soto, to a Katie Proudfoot, a Chris Proudfoot, right? Imagine that. And then think about that, and then let's portal back into our time and look at her in the way that she's, the makeup she has on, the crying she's not doing, the urgency that she doesn't have. All right, so let's flash back and then flash forward to what we're going through now with those mothers that we feel like did something. Okay, because I don't know why she's looking like a movie star here, but I don't see any urgency and I don't see tears, and I never have. Maybe in the very beginning, but we'll have to get into that.
We'll serve that up into your feed, hopefully. So what is she saying here? She's saying we know our life will never be normal again. In other words, she knows Madeleine will never come back. Right? She has knowledge outside the facts. No one knows whether or not Madeleine will come back or not, right? The facts don't support her being dead or kidnapped, right? We just don't know. It could be anything. She could be dead. She could be kidnapped. She could have run away. So the fact that she's saying we will never be normal again, in other words, our family will never be whole again, is revealing, right? It means she knows Madeleine's never coming back because she knows Madeleine is dead.
Of what's happened. But we've got to a place where we are obviously functioning. And Jerry works full time. I haven't returned to medical practice, but I've worked on the campaign and investigation. 6 months of my life was spent going through the Portuguese police files. 9 months was spent writing the book. And of course, we've got 2 other children. We've got Sean and Emily, and it's actually quite.
Right. We've got 2 other children.
Thank you, Clark. Hit the like button.
What does that mean?
Okay?
They've got those 2. I think once again, she's sort of leaking that she knows Madeleine is dead, right? It's not saying we have 3 children, although she did say others. So I won't read too much into that one. And part of the thing with this being 5 years later is they are inconsistent with their leakage. So you can tell that they catch themselves sometimes. For example,
Wow, this is great. Okay, so this is 5 years later, which is great because we can flash back to before, and if I cover other episodes, if I have enough people in here that are hitting the like button and they're liking me to go over the different things in this case, then I will go back. But this is 5 years later, and they're catching what they said in earlier videos where people question them and blame them. Yeah, she's telling on herself. What's up, Wyatt? Good to see you. I like that, Bernice. Let's go.
Well, sometimes they speak about Madeleine in the present tense because everybody knows that if you speak about a missing kid in the past tense and you actually are the one who killed them, then you just outed yourself as the murderer, right? So everyone knows that one rule of statement analysis. It's almost like a meme. Everybody knows it, even criminals. So they catch themselves with some of these things, but they also slip up at other times, right? It's not consistent. For example, in the first
except for Jen Soto. Jen Soto didn't know better than to talk about Maddie in the past or the present, right? They keep doing that. Yeah, he keeps saying leakage. You don't like that word, huh? It's actually called verbal leakage. So yeah, like away, y'all. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you, Tammy. What's up? Happy holidays is what I'm going to say. Christmas is over and New Year's is coming. I'm going to have to think of something really special for you guys for New Year's Eve. So if you guys want me to stream on New Year's Eve and pick a case or an episode, let me know. Put a 2 in chat if you want me to stream on New Year's Eve.
This episode we did on McCanns, Jerry talked about moving Madeleine, right? And you don't move living people, right? So he talked about the alleged kidnapper moving her across the border to Spain. When you're talking about trafficking, you say they could have taken her across the border, or they could have smuggled her across the border, trafficked her. You don't say moved, right? When you talk about moved, you're talking about moving an inanimate object, like moving a piece of furniture, or in this case, I think what he was visualizing was a cadaver, right? So when he was talking, he was visualizing Madeleine's dead body, and he slipped up.
Right.
But then other times he said she was taken, right? So they, in these 5 years, they've obviously gotten better at reducing the amount of leakage they have, but they still have a ton of leakage. They're not sophisticated liars, right? They're very bad liars.
Quite a luxury, but a nice luxury to be able to take them to school and be there for when they come home. So
it's probably important to emphasise, we do spend obviously a lot of our spare time focused on it. And the last year we've slept a lot better knowing that the review is taking place. But if you had a casual observer looking at us as a family, they would see a family of 4, they'd see a happy family of 4, and they wouldn't suspect that we've been, suffered a great trauma. But for Kate and
also, we suffered a great trauma. So they caught themselves when they were talking about Madeleine living in the past tense, right? So they try almost always to refer to her as in the present tense. But like this, they slip up, right? We suffered a great trauma. If your kid is missing, it doesn't matter if it's 20 years later.
Yes. Just do the DNA test, Tammy. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that video just to play a few minutes afterwards. That's what I'm saying. Love Deception Detectives Take. I needed to talk to you guys about what I think really happened to Maddie before we ever move forward in this case, because I want to have the complete context. So when someone hops in a chat that doesn't know what I've said before, I can make sure that I'm consistent over and over and over in what I think. My theories don't change. And if my theories change, you guys, I let you know. So if you go back and watch all 16 Sebastian Rogers episodes, I don't sit there and go through each one and say, what did I say last time? No, my theory is my theory. And yeah, I can present different things to you, but it's always the same. So unlike some of these parents that have missing children and their stories change and they don't act right or they speak in the past tense. So just remember that, you guys, about people when you're trying to figure out what they're saying and if it's a lie or the truth, all you got to do is watch. Actions do speak louder than words, and words speak volumes. When you listen to, let's say, a creator that's done 10 videos, and every single video, it's like their theory changes depending on what the audience wants. That's not what I do. I don't care. I love what you guys want, but I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think, and what I think being backed up by experts, hopefully. All right. Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. It's not about, I really just want you guys to know what consistency is, what state. I'm in California. California love, baby. It's 5:10 p.m. here.
30 years
Right,
later, you are still suffering that trauma.
Right.
Because you don't know what your kid is going through. So the fact that he says we suffered a great trauma means that the trauma is over. The trauma was when Madeleine died in Portugal. That was traumatic, but that is over, right? We suffer when someone dies, the trauma's over, right? If your parent dies, you say, it was a tragic loss. It was traumatic, but you don't say I'm still traumatized by it, right? You're still traumatized by things that are ongoing. If they truly believe Madeleine is still alive and don't know what happened to her, then that trauma should be ongoing. So that's a slip up, right? The tense he's using is not appropriate to his story. The tense he's using indicates that he has knowledge beyond what he's saying. He has knowledge that the trauma is over. The only way it's over is if she's at peace now, right? She's dead.
Family of four in the
Also, let's say this was the only thing we noticed. Would that mean that they killed her? No, right? We look for multiple signs of deception before we conclude that someone's being deceptive. And even as I said in my first video, I'm not going to take all my poker chips and go in on my theory that they killed her by accident, right? So I'll just recap my theory based on the first video I did on the McCanns. In that video, based on what the parents said, I came to the conclusion that they probably killed her by accident in the hotel room by giving her something to help her fall asleep, right? Like a medication. And her blood pressure may have dropped, right? They're both physicians. They may have noticed she was dying. And Jerry, the father, was there when she died. And then they corroborated their story about the open window and came up with this alibi that she was taken from them, right? That someone kidnapped her.
All right. So I don't know if you guys just heard that, but that's where we are so far in our theory of all the things that we've gone over behind the scenes. And knowing what we know now, knowing that these two were doctors and they gave their child, Madeleine, meds to sleep. And the theory is that, and now you can say they overdosed her or they medicated her, and then they went to dinner and she was so medicated it was easy for someone to come in and kidnap her. So if you're on that theory, that's fine too. You can have whatever theory you want. I'm just going to present the evidence that I have and let you guys know. So I did not know that they heavily medicated her, and the theory of being heavily medicated and then overdosing, going and sneaking out to dinner to have an alibi, coming back and saying, darn it, I left that window open, I can't believe that, and now she's gone. All right, so that's my theory. You guys are welcome to have your theory. I believe that so far, that the medication and it led to an overdose and that they concocted that story. Now, you guys, I see people from other countries that say they didn't do it, the parents are innocent. That's fine. Show me the proof. Show me what you have. And when I'm showing videos of the parents and I think they're lying, using the wrong tense or putting cues or scripting stories or saying things that I don't agree with, I'll show you that evidence and you show me yours. How about that? Maybe she took her from it. Either way, it was still them. Either way, again, like Katie, she was the last person to see Sebastian alive. So she was the last person. It was her responsibility. Again, I am going to say I do believe Katie holds a key and Chris is the keeper of secrets. All right, let's keep going.
Sure. And then they took the body and put it somewhere cold. I think the ocean, right? So they took her little body and put it in the ocean. So
hey, girl.
If you want to know how I came up with that theory, listen to part 1 of this interview where I developed that theory. Also, I did that one as a premiere. I'm also doing this one as a premiere. So make sure to watch the live chat as you watch it, if you're watching on YouTube, because there's lots of you guys had great comments in the live chat and I added more details in the live chat.
And they wouldn't suspect that we've been.
All right, so here, look how he talks about the trauma. The trauma is past tense, it's over. Their trauma is not ongoing. If you have a missing child, the trauma is ongoing.
Right, and I've seen many parents 5 years later, 15 years later, that can't hold it together. Their makeup smeared and they can't even really talk about it. And when they do, it's like it was yesterday. I also want to remind you, we have 301 people in chat. My channel is fan funded. So if you do have the means to get yourself a membership, gift memberships, super chats, super stickers, or any of the below, please do. I would appreciate it. And it's almost mortgage time. So I understand if you're low on funds, you can always hit the like button and it's free. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, another Casey Anthony RL. And what? Zanny the nanny. You know what that is? When you say something like that, when your child is taken, their life is taken, and you say something like Zanny the nanny, you're right away, in my opinion, telling people that you were giving your child Xanax, and more than likely it helped the OD of them. Or if it didn't, doesn't matter. You still were giving your child Xanax. Why else would you say Zanny the nanny, right? It's just like when you're asking parents a question about the child, you make a statement and you ask the parents a question, and the way they answer that question is what's bothering them the most. What we talked about. Yeah, Zanny, period. Right. Exactly. Whatever they talk about is what's bothering them the most. Hence, Chris Proudfoot.
Suffered a great trauma.
Right. We suffered a great trauma. The trauma's over. Madeleine's at peace now.
But for Kate and I, Sean and Emily are as happy as any 7-year-olds that we know. And for Kate and I, we get enjoyment from life. We do that. But until Madeleine's back with us, there's always going to be a void, and that there's a limit. Whereas before you could have unbridled joy. Anything now there's always a tinge in it, and it's often the family things because Madeleine is not there with us.
How has it affected your relationship?
Well, we're very lucky.
Also, lots of times. Right. So I usually just like to look at people's words, right? When I'm doing deception detection, I don't like to consider outside facts because it can bias me, and I try to be unbiased. Right. It's one reason I don't talk about my political leanings on the podcast, because even telling you guys my own leanings can bias what I say. So, Andy will obviously.
All right, so let me just break this down, Lisa Lee. I don't know about sneaky medication. People don't generally look in your bag and say, "What is that medicine you got there?" Not only that, they were doctors, Lisa, so they easily could have had prescription pills. You're allowed to take prescription pills anywhere you want, so I don't think the medication was anything that was illegal. And at the time, back then, we didn't have that opioid epidemic the way they do now, where everything was you have to go walk into the pharmacy to pick it up, a controlled substance. They didn't have that back then. It was so easy to get a prescription and write a prescription back then. I love what is chat talking about now? I love that man too. So do I. And I'm right there with you, Shauna. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, look at that face we paused it on.
Bias how you hear me. Lots of parents, when a child goes missing, end up getting divorced. Right? There's usually a lot of trauma and blame between the parents. Notice how they never blame the other for losing Madeleine. You're the one who had the idea to leave her in the bedroom alone, not me. I was the protective one. Right? Are saying, why did you really check when you went up to the room? Because you should have noticed the window open, right? So there's none of this bickering or accusations between them, which is another sign that they're co-conspirators. Right? They're very tight-knit. In fact, a lot of times when they're talking about stuff, they say we instead of I, right?
Now we have to get into that because I haven't done, this is only my second episode. I'm taking what I've heard from the interviews and other people. So if I knew what medication Louisiana lint liquor, I certainly would tell you. We don't know for a fact, and nobody knows for a fact because we don't have Madeleine McCann's body and we don't have an autopsy. We don't have a toxicology report to tell us what was in her system. So no. The answer is no. I'm not going to sit there and tell you I do. That is what came out. That is what has come out of the situation and the questioning and from the police. All right. So if anybody knows more about that, or if you think that you have something, like I heard someone saying maybe it was cough medicine or something like that. Yeah, he is not holding back, which leads me to believe quite a bit in this because Jeep, he normally does hold back and he uses the words like, in my opinion, or maybe. All right, let's keep going. And Sadie's mama, we all love you. I'm sorry we can't see your chat all the time. Chat is kind of flying.
They're so tight-knit. And I think it's because they both know the truth. They both know they're murderers and they can never turn on each other, right? This is their secret that they must keep no matter what.
Chris and Katie
and
Proudfoot.
I think the interviewers, is a little bit suspicious of them with this question, right? He understands. It's kind of strange that You lost a daughter and you're closer than ever. There's never been any bickering or accusations or even accusing the other parents, right? Didn't they say they were in Portugal with another couple and the other couple was also checking the bedroom, right? They never accused that other family. It's like, well, did you actually check or did you steal my daughter? I don't know you that well, right? I think I know you, but did you take Madeleine? Right? There was no accusation, no
accusation against anybody. Everything was ruled out. It was cut and dry, just like Jen Soto, right? I just want her home. I mean, she hadn't even been missing a full day when Jen Soto said, "I just want Maddie home," whatever that may mean. Come on now. If I had a teenager that I was fighting with all the time and she went missing for the night, I would assume she was spending the night with her girlfriends. Didn't want to talk to me. I wouldn't say, "Bring my daughter." I just want her to be home, no matter what that means. Unless you know something. I mean, there's a reason why there's statement analysis and behavior panel, etc.
consideration of the staff or anything. Ever since day one, they've said she was kidnapped because that's the story they came up with. So they have to stick to that story. And like I said in my first video about the McCanns, the fact that they're so conclusive that she was kidnapped by some unknown, person who came through the window, the fact that they're so conclusive about it, it will not entertain any other explanations, shows that they're hoaxing, because that is something that every hoaxer we've analyzed on the channel does. The hoaxer has an agenda. The hoaxer has a particular thing they want you to believe, so they will not entertain any other explanations, because their grift or their attention-getting ploy or here saving their own skins depends on you believing that one story that they came up with.
Right.
So the conclusiveness is a huge red flag here as well, besides leakage.
Very lucky in that our relationship was very good, very strong before this happened, and I'm not sure we'd have survived if that wasn't the case. I mean, I don't think there can be anything more traumatic than what's happened to us, plus all the additional stuff on top of that.
You said you've written the book for the twins. How much do they know?
Probably as much as we do, to be honest now.
Actually, yeah.
We did take advice from a child psychologist, and he said to be as honest and as open with them, but let them take the lead.
You know what else is interesting? She wrote a book for the twins, and we're going to find out right now if she published this. I'm going to tell you what here. Let me tell you what. If I needed to explain something to Reese or another child, I would not make that public unless I was trying to benefit from the outcome of it, from the money that she made, because that's a better story, right? She did write a book, but that's a much better story to sell the public. Hey, I'm a grieving mother, but my twins needed to know what happened to their sister. I wrote a book for them to understand, and here it is, you guys. I want it to be so personal to them that I wrote it for the public. What? Is that me? Is that, yeah, giving them the narrative. That's another good thought. But like I always say, what? All right, let's keep going. That's not good.
So if they ask you a question.
Right, so be as honest and open, right? Not be honest and open. She left off the last word, right? To be as honest and open as possible. Because there are certain things they cannot be honest and open about without incriminating themselves.
And you respond as fully as you can, and that's exactly what we've done. So we've got to the point now where they understand that a man has taken Madeleine.
Wow.
A man has taken Madeleine.
A man has taken Madeleine.
Look at her face, too.
How do they know? Let's say Madeleine was kidnapped, right? So this is another indicator of a liar. The fact that they know things that are not in evidence. What does it mean? It means that they've fabricated a story. How do they know it was only one person who took Madeleine? How do they know it was a man? And in the first part of this interview, they said, whoever took Madeleine saw an opportunity. It was a risky one, but they took it, right? So they even have...
Right, they have that. They've made it all up. It's like when you ask Jen Soto, what do you think happened, Jen? Well, I think maybe down 192, maybe she was strangled and in the trunk. Wow, Jen Soto told us exactly what happened, you guys. Isn't that funny? Isn't that very funny? Yeah, I need a smoke break too, LJ. Just wow. That's all I have to say is wow. Oh, wow. We know this because we study it, and we study it because we watch true crime every day with each other and with other channels, and we see it over and over and over. And that's okay, Goldilocks. You can go back and watch it. Right now, we're talking about what really happened to Maddie in our opinion and what we think of the parents. Now, you could think they're not guilty or they're guilty, but the way they're coming off and the verbal leakage says something different. Welcome. Mafe Martinez. Multiple families with all sus, in my opinion. Thank you. Thank you for that 199 super chat and your meaningful comment. I appreciate you guys. And I am going to cover John Benet Ramsey on Monday because it's really important. You guys, there's 7 new pieces of DNA or 7 new pieces that are going to be tested for DNA. So we are going to get ready for the John Benet Ramsey. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like those pictures of her dressed up as a beauty queen, and I don't like pictures of little girls wearing makeup with their bras stuffed. I'm going to tell you that. Oh, it makes me so mad. All right, let's keep going. This is a shell game. You're right, Jay. You're right, Jay. I was wrong. A shell game, huh?
Know the internal thoughts of the person who took Madeleine. There is no way to be conclusive about any of this.
I don't think so.
Also, if you're a mother and your daughter's missing, you might entertain that she was kidnapped, right? So that is definitely an option, but is the last option you even want to consider, right? I would rather consider, and so would any other person, right, who lost a kid, would rather consider that someone on the hotel staff snuck in and is holding her ransom and is going to send me a letter any day to pay a ransom, right? Or that she somehow opened the window herself and got out, right? Or a vulture flew through the window and grabbed her and dropped her a couple yards away when it couldn't carry her, right? Any other option is what you want to consider. Or even one of the other parents is playing a cruel joke on me. They open the window and they pretend Madeleine was missing. That couple's crazy. What a cruel joke. But I'll forgive them. Just give me Madeleine back, right? So the fact that they're saying that the kidnapping is the only option and that they have all these facts about it that are not in evidence, right? That it was a man, is a great indicator that this story is fabricated, right? They've come up with a little story in their heads and they're leaking it, that it's made up because they're saying things about it that are not in evidence.
To be honest now,
wow.
Actually, yeah.
We did take advice from a child psychologist, and he said to be as honest and as open with them, but let them take the lead. So if they ask you a question, you respond as fully as you can, and that's exactly what we've done.
Okay.
So we've got to the point now where they understand that a man has taken Madeleine.
A man, it couldn't have been a woman, right? That's totally impossible. Right? It's plenty possible, right? There's actually cases of women stealing kids because they can't have kids of their own, right? Or there's evidence of there's a famous story in Australia of a dingo.
Oh, he's about to talk about that, you guys, the dingo case. But before we get into that, that's a great comment, Leanne. Look over here, not behind the curtain. Look over here. A man's the one that went into the window and stuck in it. Now, police officers, go look for a man. You're missing that man. You know, the one that is a registered offender? Go look at that man. Oh, there's a man over here. We could even say there's a man in chat. There's only one, let's say, in chat. Chief. Let's blame it on Chief. And you're good. It's all a good fun, Chief. But what I'm saying is she's putting it off to the most plausible thing that people's brains will compute with is it was a guy that went into the window and took her. How do you know that? And why are you selling that narrative in a book? Wow.
Taking a baby, right? All of these options are still in play unless you know what actually happened and you have an agenda to point everyone in a specific direction. So I'm trying to illustrate how big of a red flag this is. They're talking about things that are not in evidence, which means they have information outside of the evidence.
They view it like burglary, which has been stolen, and you shouldn't take something that doesn't belong to you. But they understand, there's lots of people helping us. They understand why we're in Sweden today. The purpose of that is to ask for more help, really.
Can they really remember?
Well, obviously they were very young, but they have recounted things that happened prior to May 2007, which has kind of thrown me a little bit. Obviously, they've been surrounded by Madeleine ever since. There's pictures all around the house. Madeleine's bedroom's still there. They've obviously seen things on the television. And they know that my job really has changed from being a doctor to looking for Madeleine.
And I think it's important to say they still see Madeleine as a big part of their life. And as parents, that's incredibly comforting. And they'll say things like, we're going to get an airplane and we're going to look for that man. And when we find him, we're going to, we'll give him to the police. But they even talk about...
Right, that man.
That man.
Like I said, these are not sophisticated liars. Right? So they're revealing that this kidnapper, who nobody knows who it is a man. He worked alone. He's not in England, right? He's somewhere abroad. This is not how the parents of actual kidnapping victims speak. This is how hoaxers speak.
Yep.
About that, and well, I think if we don't find Madeleine the next period, we will face more difficult times as they get older and they're on the internet and they start seeing some of the vile material which is there.
In your book, you
well, there's another book in your book. How many books did these people write over the years? Now, there are also other videos that have been looked at about these parents that are cash grabbing. And there's many ways. We're not going to get into it now, but no, she was a doctor and maybe she came back over COVID. But what I do want to say about this particular case is why not? How hard would it be for those parents, Jerry and Kate McCann? How hard would it be just to say, GD, I'm going to swab my mouth and just get this girl, Julia, off my back? Is it because they already know that Maddie's dead, that they know because they're the ones that did it, that Maddie's dead? So why even test the DNA? It's just a waste of time. Let's just call the cops and get this crazy bee out of here. That's what I want to say about that. I still can't understand. And this is what we're talking about right now, is them controlling the narrative. They're controlling it right now and talking about books that they're writing 5 years later.
You mentioned that you have been perceived as cold in a way.
Well,
regarding this interviewer, I think he's doing a great job.
Go.
So I'm actually glad I stumbled across this interview. The reason I picked this interview is because when I was researching interviews in the McCanns, right? So when I did that poll, when I've done a lot of the polls on the channel, the McCanns have come in second place almost every single time. So I figured it was about time to just do it and knock it out. And I wanted to analyze an interview that has not been analyzed by anyone else on YouTube. So this seemed to be the only one I could find without some other commentator's face in the thumbnail. So I think this interview is doing a great job because he's asking lots of questions that are sort of at the top of my mind, as well as in my comments about the McCanns, right? So yes, they do appear cold. Why do they appear cold? Because people can instinctively see what's missing. They never appeal to this kidnapper, right? If they actually believe someone kidnapped her, they have not made an appeal here. Right? They haven't looked into camera and say, and Madeleine, if you're out there, we still love you. And if you have my baby girl, message, call this hotline or send an email here. Right? So there's no appeal like that. And there's also no curiosity or concern about what's happening to Madeleine. Right? So they're concerned about the twins. They're concerned about themselves, but they're not concerned about Madeleine. Right? They never say, I can't sleep at night because I don't know what's happening to her or what happened to her. Right? It's like a UFO came and abducted her. So there's never anything like that, right? Which is why they appear cold.
This is what I'm
also, I think one of the reasons they appear cold in actuality is because so much of their story is scripted, as I showed in part 1, where they actually say things across interviews that are almost verbatim the same. Like they literally hit the same beats.
Like Jen
which I think
Stephen.
are the parts of the story that they made up together and decided we're never going to veer from this script. So when you're citing
All right, you guys. So you just heard scripting, unusual details. I mean, we could go on with this video for another 20 minutes, but we're not, because I also want to get into why they called the cops. Number one, why didn't they take the DNA test? Now, you guys can all debate that in chat, but I think they don't want to switch from their narrative. And we're deep into the Jen Soto, Madeleine Soto, Stephen Stearns case, right? So we know when something's scripted and when they follow suit and never changes. You hear those keywords. That's them. So I pose the question next. Why don't they want the DNA test? Why can't they just get it out of the way and stop entertaining it? That's what we're going to talk about now. Instead, they called the cops. So I'm going to stop sharing this and we're going to go on to our next part of this. And it's a Saturday, so it's awesome that I get to hang out with you. I've been here for an hour and a half and I want to do this with you for a little bit longer and get this out there. So if this just came out as well, the last time I did this video, when I covered the McCann case, it's opened up a can of worms for me, and this happened. So look at this is on December 15th. This happened. I just hadn't had time to go over it with you yet because I've been it's been Christmas and I've been covering other cases. So now we're going to talk about this.
Crying in the moment was just so.
All right, before I get into it, let me start it at the beginning. My internet is being awful today, you guys. But last time I came on here was before December 15th, and this came out after. This came out on December 15th, and this is the audio, and this is the dealing with Julia going to the McCanns and calling the cops.
And with that said, Julia, thank you for coming.
All right. So before we get into it, also, let me tell you this. Everything is allegedly, in my opinion, and if you're trying to keep track of it, because you lose track of the proper emotions. Right, Stoic. And I do not believe that Julia Wendall is Madeleine McCann. So let me say that for anybody that just jumped in here and didn't watch my last episode or didn't watch me at the beginning. I do not think that she is Madeleine, but I want to know what she has to do. Why is she in this case, and why won't the McCanns just get it over with and take the test? All right. Why'd they call the cops? That's what I want to get into. And I want you to see this just came out. Now, you're right, Stoic Dissension. When you have to keep track of a fake script, you lose track of the proper emotions, right? Right. So you can't, I'm so afraid. You say, I'm so afraid, like it's nothing. And I haven't been able to show my potato this episode. So thank you guys. Here's the trigger warning killer potato. All right. I love you guys very much. And I wanted to show you the potato. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. And if you get the opportunity or you have the means to buy a membership or gift them, please do. Right. Why not take the DNA test? Plot twist. The McCanns are the parents of Madeleine. Oh, and I also wanted to debunk I want you guys to know so you don't come in my chat later on, some random person saying, why are you even talking about this case? Madeleine McCann was already found. She was buried and they found her. No. Unless you show me proof or a body, she is not found. All I gotta do is pull out the potato and you guys are ready to rock and roll. All right. Let's keep going. The easiest way to dispute her claim would be a DNA test. Case closed. Well, case closed on that portion of it, right? Because we got this other guy saying he actually took the real Madeleine McCann's life. And then you got another guy saying he found her body. And then you got this girl saying that she's her. And then you got the parents that were saying her sus. So where do we go with this case? Yes. Savage Barbie, thank you for saying that. All right, let's listen to this. I don't think she's her, but she went to go meet the parents, and I'm going to play this now.
We're back, my friend.
Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone.
I don't know why this
what
guy
can I say? First thing, yeah, I met Kay and Jerry, so I decided to go to UK. I made this decision about 2 months ago, actually. So I knew that I want to go there. I knew that I want to try to meet them. Yeah, I went there with my friend Karen, and we were waiting for them to come back home after we guess work. Yeah, and Kate came back.
All right, so she's saying Kate came back after, and we guess work Kate came back. So I put down there, I put it so you guys can read the subtitles because sometimes it's hard to understand what the heck she's saying. And all contrary, I agree, and that's why I'm going to do it with the John Benet Ramsey case as well, because that has not been solved in my opinion, and everybody's opinion, I would say. And they're testing new DNA for some items. Now, I agree with that. In this case, should if what it takes to get Julia out there to open this back up, or the guy that says he took her life, we need to look at it, because this is not just a case that is not only that it's a cold case, they're not even looking anymore, but it's getting all of this information in it. So it absolutely should. Yeah, Julia knows 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, we talked about that last time. She's got this channel where she's singing. It's like, man. All right, let's be respectful.
She parked her car and she was trying to, and my friend was like, it's not their car, don't go there, it's not their car. And I was like, it is their car, because I saw their car first in May 2024 when I saw them in the car before the vigil. So that's why I knew it was their car. So I immediately went out from Karen's car, running to Kate. And yeah, and when I saw her, basically, she was like taking bags from from her car, and I said, Kate, and she turned around, turned to me, and she was looking at me, and she immediately she started crying, and you can believe or not, but I
Okay, interesting. I'm glad that she actually was crying because she's showing some sort of sympathy. I do wish that Julia would have filmed that. I wish she would have had her phone to film it so we can see it. So now you see, I'm catching you up if you don't understand. She went over there, she was getting groceries out, she saw her, and she's crying. Now, let's talk about why they called the cops, all right?
was there, Karen was there, she's a witness. She started crying in the moment when she saw me. I don't think that if I would be just a stranger, she would react like that. And I don't think anyone would. Some people say that,
Yes.
oh,
DNA.
it's harassment, whatever. Tell me,
Kinda
please,
is.
why can Jerry have never reported me to the police? If they think I'm just a stranger, if they think that I'm annoying, that I destroyed their name somehow, that I give them distress, like Kate said, why haven't they reported me to the police? Because I don't think I'm just a stranger, to be honest. Because if I was just a stranger, no, normally people, when someone will show up next to your house, someone who speak about you on the internet, or whatever, and would say something to you.
So I want to know if they aren't her parent. Well, I don't think they are, but what about her parents? Does that mean that her parents kidnapped her? Because that means that she was the little girl inside of the window when they were on vacation and someone snagged her. Is that what that means? Yeah, well, she is a stranger regardless. But yeah, she is interesting. This is the chick that thinks she is Madeleine. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want a DNA match. I want to not do it. I wish you would just take like a home test over there and say, please me your DNA so I can get this solved. But yeah, absolutely, Savage Barbie. That means her parents stole her. That doesn't make any sense. Where did she come from? Does she not have memory of being a child? I'm sure those answers are all out there, you guys, because this is part 11. Julia meets the McCanns. Cops are called. She's telling the story right now. I don't know what is going on in her head.
That like I want to speak with you, and you don't know this person, right? So I guess
I
I don't know
don't
if
know
you would
you.
do this, but I guess everyone would say, "Leave me alone, go out from my house. I don't want to speak with you," or would call the police and even not speak with this person. This like I guess what I would do if someone would show up next to my place and would say, I don't know, something. I would probably, if I would be angry, I would probably even not speak with this person, go to the house, straight into the house, ignore this person, and call the police.
There's some
Or
DNA.
I would say,
There's some
I would be
DNA.
very angry, and I would say, go out, I will call the police. In the moment when I will say this, I would call the police. But Kate's actions didn't fit the words. She was very emotional. And I could clearly see that she, in my opinion, she knows who I am, but it's my opinion. In my opinion, she was scared of Jerry because he showed up a few minutes after she came. So yeah, but I think I have never seen Kate in such a big emotions like I saw her that day. No interview of them, nothing. I've never seen her so in this kind of emotions. So I'm very happy she spoke.
That is interesting because she hasn't been in those emotions, but I wonder if, and now the pictures are weird. Lisa Lee, you just asked me for the picture with Julia and her mom. I got a picture of that, but I felt like it was a weird picture. It looks weird to me. I don't think I like that. You're welcome to email me if you have something that doesn't look weird. There's like a weird transition on that picture that Bree sent to me. So you can email me below at guiltyofcrime.com and I can show it when I'm done here, but I just don't like it. Yes, it does look like her. I see a picture that I think is her mom that looks like her. But yes, some DNA was tested and it says she's freaking Polish, which isn't what Maddie McCann is or was. All right. I think that she was not emotional for her missing parent. So I think they were emotional because they don't want to be caught. They don't want the truth to come out. I'm not sure that they were emotional over her. Now, these are several pictures of Julia as a young child, younger than Madeleine when she disappeared. Interesting. Yeah, we went over that last time, the DNA. I'm going to go a little bit forward because I want to hear about them calling the cops.
Is part of property. And then Julia, only 2 minutes, please. Kate, no. Julia, only 2 minutes. I understand you. And then Karen, I thought you want to find your daughter. And that's your friend, right, Julia? Karen?
Yes, Karen is my friend.
All right. So, Kate, I do, but I don't need this. Julia, but I am not lying. Karen, she is your daughter. Julia, I am not lying. Kate, she's not my daughter. I will now call the police. Julia, call the police. Kate, this is private property. I'm not lying. Please, I have DNA. I'll call the police and I'll call her out.
I'm not sure what
That's
you're
what Kate
sending
said.
me.
Me,
What are you
Julia,
sending
please
me?
don't care. Kate, you're causing us a lot of distress. Julia to Karen, no, don't shout at Kate. Karen, question mark. Julia, I see her cry. Do you remember, Kate, how the media portrayed you?
I don't think that she was crying because of that. I'm going to tell you. And Brie, I'm not sure what you sent me in email, but I don't even want to go over the results. We went through the results last time, and like it's just a whole article about something I don't believe. And there's Sky News that says, I believe on Madeleine McCann, Polish woman claiming to be missing British girl to expose evidence in an online exclusive. So she's here again talking about it. And you scroll down in this article, and it's the good old Dr. Phil, which is a whole other story there. And then they go over Madeleine and her eye and Julia's eye as a kid. They don't even look the same. They're showing Madeleine as a baby and Julia as a baby, and they don't look the same. All right. And she was kidnapped with no recollection of her childhood and has never seen her birth certificate. It just doesn't hold any weight. I'm going to say on my show, I'm going to say that she's not her and something else is going on with her. So I'm not even going to show that again. I'd rather you guys go back and watch my part 1 of this and see that I already said that. I think it's a joke that she even says it's her. All right. Hello, Jamie. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I don't think she cried for you, Julia.
They lied about me. Karen, media betrayed her to Kate about Julia. Julia, they lied about me like they lied about you. I will show you. This is one thing. Karen, please let her show you. Kate, please, Julia, just go away. There is nothing you can do. And with a totally broken voice. And then Jerry says, I think you need help. You're not Madeleine. Karen says, how do you know without DNA? How do you know? Jerry, please do not hassle us. Karen, listen. Jerry, I don't know what your investment is. Karen, just listen. Jerry, no, don't listen. We're not having a discussion. Karen, you haven't done a DNA test.
She's got
Jerry, we
passports
don't
and
do
stuff.
a DNA. Julia, I have all markings on my body, all the moles. I have the memories. If you're not familiar with the series, Julia also has the eye discoloration. There's photos of it. I think these things change over time, but there was a time when it looks pretty identical. Jerry, no, you have said so much stuff. We don't want any information from you. Karen, well, all I am saying is, Julia, I have DNA on paper, my DNA profile was compared. Jerry, police are well aware about Julia and her situation. Julia, but I'm not lying. Jerry, how are you going like that? Karen says, because I have a policeman. And then Jerry, okay, you go to him and get him to send all the information to the Metropolitan Police. Julia says, the police officer threatened me. Jerry, Julia has an indistinguishable. Karen says, you're a Freemason. What? And then Jerry, what are you talking about? I'm a Christian.
I have to say,
and I wonder why Julia's laughing. I do think she's not only attention seeker, but something may be wrong with her mentally. Now, I do see those pictures. I'll show you at the end when a baby picture of like Madeleine before she was taken or whatever happened to her before her life was taken, I should say. And it doesn't even look the same. It's indisputable, in my opinion. And you know me, I'm one of the most cut and dry people. And somebody can tell you a sentence or a three sentence statement, and I'll take those 3 sentences and put it into 5 words and tell you this is the bottom line, you guys. And the bottom line of this is she seems off. If she was really that upset, I feel like her behavior is very unusual. She should be crying or upset that her mom doesn't want to see her, but she's laughing. And I think these 2 people right here, they just don't want the truth exposed. That's why they don't want anything to do with any of it. They know that Madeleine is no longer with us. Now, you know me, I say statistically, when a child is kidnapped, statistics say that after the first 48 hours is the biggest risk, and that after that, a week goes by, 2 weeks, and more than likely they're not alive. All right. Whiplash says I got 1,000% or whatever that says. 10,000% distracted. I need to find Julia's Polish interviews if there are any. All right. Love you guys. Hit the like button. Don't forget, Sadie's mama, I see you. I always see you. I just can't chat with everybody at once or because I still have 250 people in chat. All right. Anyway, support the channel if you can. Let's keep going. We're going to go for a little bit longer. Then I'm going to show you those pictures.
I had no idea what Karen was going to say. I was thinking that she would just like stay next to me. I will talk, but she wanted to support me. I didn't know that she would say it. So just for you to know, I had no idea she would say it.
And then Julia says, no, not Freemason. And then you were trying to show him the recording of the phone call with Mark from Operation Grange, but Jerry did not want to look at it. And then Jerry says, we're not having a discussion. And Julia says, please take it. And that was the forensic DNA expert's opinion regarding Julia's DNA and Madeleine's DNA and full documents with the DNA profile, name of laboratory and other details. And Jerry says, please do not. And then inaudible. Then Julia, take it. I am Madeleine. I am Madeleine. Do DNA test with me and rule me out. Rule me out. Please take it. Wow.
And when I said rule me out, he just closed the door. So
he didn't take anything.
No, he didn't take my documents. But the most interesting part of conversation with Jerry, in my opinion, is when he said, you have said so much stuff, we don't want any information from you. So he said, you have said so much stuff, so if he said it, then it means they watch my evidences, memories. What the hell can it mean? I mean, I don't get it.
I think they should do it to end this whole story and put it to rest finally, because
yes,
there's just so much uncertainty and there's no need for it. It's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done DNA test in May 2022 when I first
just do the DNA test, you guys. Come on, do the DNA test.
I don't think it's normal behavior of parents who look for their missing child.
You know why, Julia? Because they're not looking for their missing child, because their child is not missing. Their child is no longer alive. That's what I have to say about that. And I saw this Jeep Sahara, the parents were never charged, like the Ramseys were never charged for John Bonet, and they did so many things wrong, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that John Bonet Ramsey's parents did it, but I think they're involved in the cover-up, and we're going to talk about that quite a bit. I've got a lot of pictures on it. I've got a lot of information on it, and I'm going to coincide with my ideas, and then I've got some treats for you for that case. I think it's important for us to follow the John Bonet Ramsey case until that DNA comes out, those 7 pieces, and tells us something. Hopefully, I want it to tell us something. All right, so that's why I'm interested in covering that. As you know, I'm covering Sebastian, Maddie, and many other people, but I do love getting justice for children. Those are the most vulnerable people on this planet. Okay, so we'll listen to that. I may cue it up. Let's listen to this, and then I'll put them yelling again. And I'll show you the pictures. Ludicrous. Julia and Madeleine McCann as a child is ludicrous. They don't even look the same.
I don't want to blame anyone, but I don't think, look, I'm not a parent, but I have half siblings, younger half siblings, older as well, but younger too. And
you just said you have siblings.
If my sister would be missing and some girl would show up 10 years later, or I don't know how many years later, I would definitely do a DNA test with her because I love my sister and I would like to have her back, right? So I don't get it, but also the words that Kate said, Julia, there is just go away. There is nothing you can do. What it means? There is nothing I can do.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
I don't think these words are the words that you would say to a stranger.
They're just completely trying to write you off, and it's totally
okay. And I don't blame them for the way they feel about that, but I do think that they need to be looked at further. She needs help, and we've debunked. In my opinion, I'm going to tell you she's not it. I'm going to show you why. We're going to listen to that again, and I'm going to tell you that we still need justice for Maddie. Do her sisters know where she came from? I don't know about her. I think that she's just a distraction in this case, just like the guy that's saying he took the real Maddie McCann's life, and then the other gentleman that's saying they know where she's buried. They found her. What is wrong with these people? That's why I want this case to be solved so bad, or at least looked into in a better manner without all these conspiracy theories going on. It's just it blows my mind that people can say that people can say when I talk to them about the case, oh well, if this case is closed because this girl is her or whatever. Hold on, I gave you the wrong thing. My internet is terrible today, you guys. I'm sorry about that. My bad. I'm trying to pull up things up for you, but it's just going so slow. So thank you for having patience with me today and going over this case. I had a feeling I was going to come in here and present to you guys today, and there was going to be like 6 people in chat. So thank you guys for helping assist it out. And Synth, did I get you that new did I give you that the membership? Yes, Jamie. Yes, my girl. Excited for coming. This is afraid it had gone way too cold. No, never
Guys,
too cold,
I
you
don't
guys.
say that I am Madeleine
Right, hold on.
100%.
Where's
I'm
this
just
coming
trying
from?
to know the truth.
Okay, I don't know if you guys
I
can
need
hear
DNA
this, but
test
take
to
a
be
look.
sure if I'm Madeleine or if I'm not Madeleine. It's
Right,
not
look at that.
something like I am Madeleine and that's all. I don't know it. I believe in it, but I don't know it.
All right, take a look.
Yes, that's why I need DNA
What did I
test.
miss?
That's why I
Okay,
created
look at that.
social media.
Do you see
Meet
Madeleine?
Julia, a Polish girl who has speculated she could be Madeleine McCann. The
What do you guys
unsubstantiated
think of those
claim has
pictures?
regenerated interest around the world into the case of the missing girl.
I called
Look
the
at that.
police. According to documents, I'm 21 years
Madeleine
old.
and Julia.
I'm trying to get DNA test. That's why
Do you see
I'm
that?
creating
Look at
this.
Julia and look at Madeleine. Is
content.
that her?
Psychic medium Fia Johansson, known as the Persian medium, has launched
Thank
an
you.
investigation into Julia's claims.
If we look into the
All right.
science-based
That's
things,
not
I
her.
mean, again, we still don't know because my feelings,
ludicrous,
yeah,
you guys.
I would
All right,
love
hold
to
on.
see her as a Madeleine McCann. That's my
Let me-
feelings. Oh yeah,
Let me
but
show something.
at this moment, the case is very important and is very sensitive to just go by the feelings and thoughts and a couple pictures. She has this one.
All right, that one's bothering me. It just keeps going and going. All right, now we're going to listen to this one more time. I'm going to put the audio on and to make sure that you guys can hear it, I'm going to slow it down for you, and I'm going to put the sub. Oh, look at what happened here. You guys see my face real big. All right, now let's get into this. I'm going to show it again, or you guys are going to hear it again, the audio, because we didn't get to hear it this one. They just she was telling us what they said. So let me make sure that you guys can see playback. I'm going to go 1.75. And I'm going to put the subtitles on for you guys. All right.
For those of you that are with me for the past couple of years.
All right. And before I get into it, that sounds a little creepy when I slowed it down. So I'm going to change that. So I want you guys to know what we talked about today. It's kind of like giving you guys your quiz at the end of the day. So today we talked about the case is absolutely not closed. She meets the McCanns and they call the cops. Julia is not her, in my opinion. They did not find her body, in my opinion, and they need to do the DNA test just to get that out of the way. Okay, so that was your quiz. That's a pop quiz. It's going to be on later on when I say, "What'd you learn from today's episode, guys?" Get this girl a therapist and medication. Thank you, Nancy Jean. I really want to talk to her. I really would love to do an interview with her, Nancy, and or even a behind the scenes and say, listen up, Julia. First of all, why would you want those to be your parents when people speculate that they took Madeleine McCann's life? Number one. Number two, if they don't want you, they don't want you. People that some people's parents just don't want them. Let's just give that up and move on to your singing career or whatever. So I'd love to do an interview with her. I'm still gonna keep digging into this. I am gonna go into the JonBenet Ramsey because the Netflix documentary just came out, and since that just came out, there's more information coming, and I want to cover it with you guys. And yeah, I do want it, sweetie. I want to give you guys good conversations and a place to have an outlet on your thoughts. All right. Oh, cheapskate, you missed my live. I've been on for 2 hours, you guys, but I still love you. I'm not normally on a Saturday, so I don't expect that you know. Yeah, the girl has a longer face. The nose doesn't match. The eyes don't match. And she's Polish, not British. All right. Why don't they have the parents' DNA? Because they're not looking at them. They haven't been charged with anything. That's why. The eyes have the mark, but we found out, Liddy, that 1 in 10,000 people have those markings. And she uses 3 different names. Nothing matches, in my opinion. But cheapskate, stay here with us and listen to this audio real quick, okay? All right. Anyway, you got a pop quiz later on today on my community page, all right? How'd you guys like that? I have a feeling people like those quizzes. Almost 400 people voted in my quiz today, so that's pretty awesome. I don't know why I never looked deeper into her. I don't know, Whiplash. I don't know. Because, Whiplash, you're waiting for me to come along and get the case going. That's why. What's up, Miracle Hearts? Good to see you. Also, yeah, if you guys like quizzes and stuff, I'll put more on my community page. It seems people did like them. All right. Synth says, yeah, I reached out and the girl got banned. Huh, interesting. Thank you. Thank you. You guys like quizzes, huh? We're going to do some more. Chad is asking about the eyes. Those eyes don't match. I don't know about the eyes, but I'm telling you, she has the same eye, but 1 in 10,000 people also have that same eye. Ashley, girl, you failed the quiz. Oh, no, you're going to have to take it again. All right. You can add polls to lives. I can. I just got to figure it out. Jay's Jeopardy, right? All right. Let's listen closely.
Would know that I extensively covered the story of a young lady named Julia Wendall. She made quite a spectacle after she took to social media, claiming that she is Madeleine. She gained millions of followers and started sharing her case, stating that the...
All right, what the same eye means, you guys, is this. This is a marking. It's not rare, but this marking in Madeleine McCann's eye, I forgot what it's called, but 1 in 10,000 people have it. If you look here, Madeleine McCann has the marking on the bottom of her eye, and Julia has it on her eye, but it's right here on the side. Now, these are them back to back. This is Madeleine. I don't know what age she was. I know she was, how old was she when they took her? I keep saying 6, but that's JonBenet. That's JonBenet Ramsey that died at 6. Madeleine McCann was only like 3, I think. So Madeleine McCann was 3 or 4. Here they are side to side. There's the crazy girl that thinks she's and I hate to say that, Julia, if you ever watch this, I don't think you're crazy. I don't want to say it in a bad way. I don't think you're Madeleine McCann. So this girl thinks she's this girl. Look at the eyes, you guys. Now, she went to go visit the McCanns. Yes, Madeleine was a beautiful child. She went to visit the McCanns and they called the cops. You're going to hear the audio of that, okay? Yeah, good thing, good thing. Iris can change. Okay. Okay, but regardless, DNA doesn't change. Right? It was right before she turned 4. I thought so. It's hard to keep up on all these cases, every little number. I do want to ask you guys at the end of this if you guys want me to cover the Halderson case. What's Adam? Is it Adam Halderson that he just chopped up his parents and the trial's happening right now? Grizzly True Crime is covering the Halderson case where he killed his parents. So anyway, let me know if you want me to cover that if you don't know about that.
Followers and started sharing her
Oh,
case,
Chad?
stating
Is
that
it
the mark
Chad?
that Maddie has in her eye is similar to the one that she has in her own eye. She shared other pictures of similarities that she felt she had with Maddie McCann, such as ear shape. Julia wanted to meet Jerry and Kate McCann, and said Kate will know she is Maddie once they meet. Well, it seems that after all this time, Julia is still on a mission to prove that she is in fact Maddie. She actually showed up at the McCann house, and Kate threatened to call police on her. Take a listen.
Only 2 minutes. I understand you. I do, but I don't need this. But I'm not lying. I'm not lying. My I'm going to call the police. Call the police. This is I'm not lying. Please, I have DNA. I'm going to the police and announce. Your personal loss is stressed. No, don't start the case. I see her cry. I saw your face. I don't remember face. How many years is crazy? They lied about me. The one gets a traitor. They lied about me like they lied about you. I will show you. Like this is one thing. Let me show you. How does it?
I need help. You are not mad.
How do you know you're not DNA? How do you know you're not DNA?
We don't want that. Please do not afterwards. And please leave the premises. Listen, I don't know what your investment is.
Listen.
No, don't listen. We're not having a discussion
You haven't
about
DNA with
it.
that. No DNA. I have all markings on my body, almost. I have memory.
Okay, no, okay, you have said so much stuff. We don't want any information.
Well, all I'm saying is, but this is DNA on paper. DNA on paper. My DNA
The police are well aware.
Maybe he was, but Grizzly True Crime is covering the case right now, Wyatt. So that's interesting. Maybe you guys know about the Chandler Halderson case that Grizzly's covering. Maybe she's covering an old one. Nonetheless, she's covering a case that I've always been interested in. I don't know if you guys know about the case. I don't want to cover the trial, but I want you guys to know what it's about. So, yeah, Julia's probably dangerous. Baby, I don't know why they keep encouraging her, but let's listen up here. Somebody's
about
encouraging
Julia
her.
and her situation.
But it's not lying.
Because how are you going to find that out?
Because I have a treatment. I have prison.
Okay. And you go to him and get him to send all the information to the Metropolitan Police. Because you are
so high up to the Freemason. I'm not here. No, you're not here. Okay.
We're not having a discussion. Please believe that we will be.
I get madness. Look at it, that's me and roll me out. Roll me out. Please take it.
All right. I don't think that she wants obligations. She doesn't want them to have an obligation. In her mind, she feels like they should want her back because their child went missing and she's saying she's her. So anyway, for all of you guys that just came in now, I appreciate she's covering it for the first time. Crime happened 725. Okay, the trial. Okay, thank Michelle. Thank you for clearing that up, Michelle Allender. I was talking about something else. Now, the Chandler Halderson. I guess it's already covered then, so I won't get into that. And I have lots of other cases that I want to cover. We've done a lot of Madeleine Soto this year, and I think in 2025. Okay, thank you. She's just covering the trial again. In 2025, we have so many other children that need coverage. So I'm going to go between, Maddie, Sebastian, of course, and then the John Bonet case. I have a list of them that I have written down that I really need to get into. So that being said, you guys so graciously on a Saturday spent 2 hours and 8 minutes with me, Jay, from Guilty of Crime. You guys supported the channel, got yourself some memberships. We gifted some memberships, and I appreciate you. Yeah, she just wants love. I feel they wouldn't question her. I don't know. I don't know what she needs, but Carrie, welcome. You got here right at the end. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Sebastian needs to be found. All these children need coverage. There's so many cases in Florida. There absolutely are. Julie's I don't know what her deal is, but I don't want to distract from the McCann case, and that's the problem, is distracting from the McCann case with her what do you call that, interjecting herself into this case. So you've got people writing books for a book, claiming that they did it, claiming that they have her body, but where at the end of the day is little Madeline McCann? And thank you, I Am Two Bear. You know I always love you. Thank you, sweetie. Carrie, yeah, go ahead and start this over. Do the replay. Welcome as imposter. Exactly. Thank you, Lisa Lee. That just messes up the whole case, and it detracts from the little girl, Madeleine McCann, that's missing. Thank you, Sassy Cassie, for liking and subscribing. And you don't have to have the means. All you got to do is hit the like button. It's free. Ashley, thank you for the largest donation for today. You covered those that couldn't afford it. That's how I see it. So thank you all. I love you. I'll be back on Monday. And I guess it depends either if there's breaking news, or I will be starting the John Bonet case. So buckle up, because that's going to be a bit crazy. It's going to be sprinkled with new information, you guys. All right. Carrie, you just missed it. You missed the whole thing. We talked about Madeleine McCann case, whether it's closed, a guy that found the body. We don't think it's him. The McCanns being part of it, what happened, and the cops being called, and Julia not being Madeleine McCann. So we did 2 hours. It's hard for me to sum it up. I guess look at the title, and the title will tell you what I talked about today. All right. Countdown to 2025. I love you. I'll get my schedule ready. We'll see you on Monday. And I'm out. Good night, y'all. Mwah, as always.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?